Okay, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel for another talking video. And yeah, today I have another subject that I was not expecting to talk about, but very recently I heard a sermon and I heard an analogy that I think will always stay with me. And I wanted to talk about that analogy and that story and what that means for all of us. And this is about restoring light, restoring light in our world. And forgive me, I I know I don't have anything that I can plug this light bulb into, but yeah, I have this light bulb with me, and the analogy is about restoring light in the electrical way and in a spiritual way. And I want to start by sharing the analogy and the story. And the story is that one day, the minister who I heard recently, he was talking about how one day he was at home with his family, and then, as it does happen from time to time, the power went out. And as daytime turned into evening and to night, it was getting darker and darker, and it was becoming more like that pitch black darkness that we experience when the sun goes down and we have no electric at home. And it feels very dark in an uneasy way. But then, after hours and hours of waiting, something wonderful did happen. After hours and hours of waiting, the power was restored to the minister's home and the other homes nearby, thanks to the hard work of the construction workers who have that job to go out to the wires and poles and transformers that need to be fixed. And because of their hard work, they were able to restore light in the electrical way in the home of that minister and the homes nearby. And everyone was very happy that the light was restored. And yeah, we can do the same thing, all of us who follow God, not in the electrical way, but for all of us who follow God, we are called to live in the light, and it is the hope that we can share our faith with other people and that we can make a positive difference in the lives of other people and restore light in the lives of others that we meet. And there are a couple of ways that we can do that, and I would like to share that right here. And one way that we can restore light in the lives of other people is by inviting them to church. And this can be inviting them to a youth group or a Bible study, a Sunday morning service, or a church activity on any day of the week. We can invite people to church and hope that they will say yes. And I know that when we invite people to church, some people may want to think about it. Some people might say no. But you would hope that when we invite people to church and when we are showing just how great it is for us to be involved in a church and when we are living out our faith, we hope that some people will say yes. And then when those people do go to church, that they can accept the Lord and that they can come to know the faith, and we can see it that we have restored light in the life of someone else. And yeah, that is one way that we can restore light in this world. And also, one other way that we can restore light in the world that we have is through our behavior. And I believe it so strongly that when we are living out really good behavior and we are being true about it, that other people do notice. And I can think of times in my life, or I've heard about it with other people, where someone is behaving in a true and really good way, and then other people notice and they say, I am so glad to have met you, and I am so glad that there are still some decent people in this world. So thank you for being kind and for doing the good things that you do. Yeah, I really believe it that good behavior, true good and godly behavior, can make a strong and positive impact in the minds of other people, and that can restore light as well in this world, because that can inspire other people to behave in the same good way. And I know that it is not always easy. It can feel challenging and it can feel inconvenient. And that word, inconvenient, came up in the sermon that I heard very recently. And it can be inconvenient for the construction workers who go out to the wires and the poles and the transformers. It can be inconvenient for them if they are working outside in the winter. It can feel really cold. And if they're working outside in the summer, it can feel sweaty and overheated. And if they are working in the evening, then they are focusing on serious work instead of being at home in their comfortable place where they could be with other people and have a warm meal. Or they're missing out on a fun evening with other friends that they have. And then when these construction workers are working at night, it can be hard to see what they need to fix. But still, those construction workers are working through the challenges, and it is worth it in the end because they are restoring electric to people's homes. And for us, for all of us who follow God, yes, it can feel inconvenient when we have to, for a day or for a week, we need to put the fun to the side for a little bit, and not forever. You know, we can still have our times of fun activities in life. But for a day or for a week, we need to focus on the serious work that is being requested of us. And it can feel inconvenient in that way at times. And also, when we are standing up for ourselves and saying no to a bad and sinful idea, I know that we can lose popularity points with certain people. And also, when we are speaking a biblical truth to certain people who do not want to hear biblical truth, that can be a tense conversation, and it's not always easy. And I know that it may feel inconvenient. It may feel challenging and inconvenient, and maybe even discouraging. But do not let the darkness of this world discourage you. Just remember to be strong and to share your faith and to not be discouraged. But just always hope that when we are attempting to restore light in this world, that other people will at least think about your invitation to go to church, and that they will also notice your true and good behavior, and that it can make a positive impact in this world, and that we can restore light in the lives of other people. And finally, when I am talking about restoring light in the lives of other people, I would like to share one other thing that I heard many years ago, and this is something that continues to stay with me. This is something that I heard from a celebrity when she was still alive. And I think about this because I have my groups of people, and we all have our groups of people. Whether we are a celebrity or an average Joe, we can still make a difference in this world, no matter how many people we meet. And yeah, many years ago in 2017, when Betty White was still alive, she was saying something to an interviewer, and she was saying, I like to be a positive thinker, and I do not like to think about, oh, I hate this or I hate that, but instead I try to think about the positive things, and I also think to myself, okay, there may not be anything that I can do about that right now, but if I can do my best in my little circle, in my little group of people, I can inspire them to do their best, and then they can go out to other people that they know in their little circles and groups of people and inspire others to do their best. If I can do my best in my little groups of people, then they can go out and inspire others in their little groups to do their best. And yeah, I think about that. And for all of us who are an average Joe, sure, we may not be able to influence thousands or millions of people like the celebrities can, but still, every single person is important. And wherever you are in the world, and no matter how many people you have in your life, focus on the people that you know, and focus on your groups of people and inspire them to do their best. And we can restore light in that way, one person at a time. I just wanted to share that other thought about restoring light in this world. And I hope that we can inspire others to know the Christian faith and know good behavior, and that we can make that positive difference in this dark world and fill the world with light, just like those electrical workers were filling dark rooms with light after putting that hard work in, and it was totally worth it. It was totally worth it, and it is a joyful analogy that I will always remember, and I hope that you have appreciated listening to what I have had to say about that analogy and that story. And going forward with what I would also like to share in this video, I know that this is on a different subject, but it is still joyful, and I just wanted to share about how we are now in the month of August. And wow, where has a lot of this year gone? We are now in month number 8 of this year. And I know that this has been a challenging year for me, with my relative who has been going downhill, and there will still be more emotionally challenging times ahead with that. And I know that there's been something else. I don't want to give away all the details about it, but I know that something else has been stressful at times in my life over the last few months. But to put it this way, I have survived, and I still have my job, and I am very happy about that. Even with the stressful updates that I have heard about. I still have my job, and I am still looking forward to working my job more and more in the future. And yeah, I know that there have been some stressful things that have happened in this year. And of course, I'm never happy when we are getting closer to the end of the season at Lakeside. But still, going forward in the month of August and September, this is the time of the year when we can now expect a few announcements from the amusement parks out there. And I wanted to share an update on what I think will happen and what may not happen, just to be real. Going into 2026, what may happen or not with the amusement parks out there. And starting with Hershey Park, I do not know if Hershey Park is going to open a new roller coaster for next year. I know there was a video out there where someone was talking about construction at Hershey Park, but I have not heard anything recently over the last month that makes me think that anything could happen for Hershey Park next year in terms of a new roller coaster. I could be wrong, but right now, I am not expecting much for Hershey Park in 2026, but maybe the year after or some point later on down the road. We will see. And I could also say the same thing about Worlds of Fun. And really, over the last month or so, I have not heard about any teasers or updates about Timberwolf at Worlds of Fun. I have not heard anything that seems to be confirming that Timberwolf will get RMC'd or receive GCI Titan track. And I don't know if Worlds of Fun is going to debut a new roller coaster for next year. We will just see what happens with Worlds of Fun, whether it's next year or another year down the road for them. And for Dollywood in Tennessee, everyone out there still cannot figure out what Dollywood is going to build and debut for next year. It could be a new roller coaster, or it could be something else. But I am still holding out a lot of hope that Dollywood is going to debut something big, and it should be exciting. And for Kentucky Kingdom, we are all waiting to see what their teaser is supposed to mean, what Test Your Wings is all about, if that is going to be a new roller coaster or something else. And I hope it is something big and exciting for them. And then in Ohio, at Cedar Point, I would not expect a new roller coaster for Cedar Point, considering how it has been 3 years in a row now with new roller coasters, with Wild Mouse, Top Thrill 2, and Siren's Curse. I am not expecting a new roller coaster at Cedar Point for next year, but maybe the year after, in 2027 or 28, and I still want to think that where Snake River Falls and Forbidden Frontier used to be, I still want to believe that a new roller coaster will eventually go there. And we will just have to wait and see what the next move is for Cedar Point, and that should be exciting when that day eventually comes. And in South Ohio, at Kings Island, we have known over the last several months that Kings Island wants to add a family thrill attraction for 2026. And we don't know if that is going to be another small roller coaster like Snoopy's Soapbox Racers, or if it is more of a flat ride. We don't know for sure what that is, but I would hope that Kings Island still has something planned for next year, and we should be finding out what that is in the near future. I hope. And finally, when we talk about 2026 and the amusement parks, and for what should definitely be happening next year and the year after, when we focus on the state of Texas at Six Flags Over Texas, it still seems to be pretty certain that Six Flags Over Texas is going to open a new roller coaster in April or May of next year. And if you go onto the official page, the official YouTube page for Six Flags Over Texas, they have now revealed that their new ride is going to be a dive coaster. And now all we have to do is sit back and wait to find out what the name of the ride is going to be and how tall the ride is going to be. But most likely, based on the permits that we have seen for a while, it is pretty likely that Six Flags Over Texas is going to debut the first dive coaster to go over 300 feet tall. The first dive coaster over 300 feet tall, and that is really exciting. That has a lot of people talking, and I cannot wait to eventually get down to Texas so I can visit Six Flags Over Texas and Fiesta Texas, because those two parks have been on my bucket list for a while, and eventually that should be a really fun time, a really fun vacation getting to see those two parks. And finally, in terms of what may happen next year or the year after, at Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey, I did not want to say anything too soon, but now appears to be a good time to talk about how Great Adventure is now working on their next roller coaster. And yeah, it has been quite a time for Six Flags Great Adventure over the last year. It has been an interesting time, a bittersweet time, and a challenging time. Because over the last year, Great Adventure decided to close and tear down King Caw, which was the green dragster. And apparently in this year, the amount of business at Great Adventure has not been that good. There have been less people visiting the park. But still, Six Flags Great Adventure is now working on their next roller coaster, and we can see that there are some footers in the ground. And I don't know what the next roller coaster could be, but I know that some people out there are commenting on YouTube and hoping that Great Adventure will get something like Velocicoaster in Florida. And from everything I've heard about Velocicoaster, I have heard that that ride is like a crazier version of Maverick. And yeah, if Six Flags Great Adventure wants to open up a roller coaster like Maverick or better, then bring it on. Bring it on. Because I know how fun Maverick is at Cedar Point, And I would just love to see Great Adventure get something like Maverick or Velocicoaster. And very recently, Six Flags Great Adventure has been preparing everyone out there that their next roller coaster might have to wait until 2027 because it is going to take time to build it, and there have been delays with some roller coasters in the chain over the last couple of years. But hey, if we have to wait it out for a longer amount of time, then that's fine. It would be worth the wait, and that will be an exciting thing to try out the next time I get to that park in New Jersey. And yeah, that is really everything that I've wanted to say about the roller coaster news as of this moment in early August of this year. You know, there should be announcements coming up soon in August and September. And for all we know, there could be surprises. And surprises can definitely happen in the amusement park business. We know that Siren's Curse was a last-minute surprise for Cedar Point. And yeah, I would love to see Hershey Park or Worlds of Fun, Valley Fair, Dorney Park, or Michigan's Adventure. I would love to see them surprise us. And we will see if they do, or if it will be in another year down the road. But stay tuned over the next several weeks, and there should be a few announcements coming up for what will happen in 2026, and that should all be fun and joyful stuff right there. So just stay tuned to all of that, and of course I will be sharing the updates on my YouTube channel. And remember what I said in the first half of this video. Just continue to be strong and always do your best in restoring light in this world. I wish you the best with that. And as always, thank you for listening to another talking video. I hope that you can always remember this message and stay well and be strong. And I will see you all again for another video really soon. Thank you.